I just got done reading Hellsing Deluxe Edition, which I believe encompasses the first third of the story, going by what I've seen online. What going by my understanding of how long the manga is. I went into this one completely blind. Unlike with Berserk, I didn't know all that much about it. Next to nothing. Other than maybe featuring a protagonist named Alucard, I had no idea like what it was about, where it was set, when it was set, where it takes place, the general idea. It was it was way different than my experiences with Berserk, right? And I think for that reason, I was much more engaged with what was going on because, like, I think I do have problems with this. Overall, I do think I enjoyed it a lot, but I do think that like it's probably not on the same level as Berserk is overall. But on the plus side, I still really liked it. I found it to be a lot of fun. I found it to be relatively like exciting and engaging. I would say it got a little bit too political heavy, like past the first half or so. It does a bit. It takes too long to set up the antagonists, I think. But overall, I was pretty pleased with it. I like the coolness of the characters. I like the general. I like the execution. I like the style. I like the blood. It's all stuff that's. It's all stuff that I like, right? Like obviously, I think it could have been better. I think particularly in the character department, particularly the side characters. Like if we really are like a third of the way through the story, I still don't feel as if I understand what these characters are about, and I think that might be intentional to a certain extent. But it really did stick out to me how it sort of like throws you into this weird situation where this crazy vampire hunter Alucard, who happens to be a vampire himself, ends up turning a girl who was involved in some kind of like vampire incident into a vampire, and I believe recruits her into his into the government organization Hellsing, which is bent on like destroying vampires and shit like that. Uh, this sounds this. I really need to like mention this because I mentioned this like on stream. That setup sounds suspiciously similar to my novel, to my novel. Eye of the Dragon, like just a little bit similar, but like I am happy to report. Like although it has like the same general idea, they're radically different. Eye of the Dragon is not about fighting Nazi. Is not about fighting the Nazis. They're fighting the Soviets. So it's completely different. Well, to be fair, Eye of the Dragon has a lot more antagonists than just that. There are actually lots of different factions around the world, and it's a little bit different. It's more about it is different in spite of the similarities. I can kind of assure you on that, and I can tell you, Helsing was not an influence on Eye of the Dragon. In spite of that, man, here I was thinking Eye of the Dragon was so cool and so original, and it turns out it wasn't. Unbelievable. So yeah. The story kicks off like very action packed with Alucard sort of going up against these ghouls, vampires, setting up like his origin story, his assistant or servant girl, the girl he turned into a vampire, Saris Victoria, and the head of Helsing, Integra. Integra Helsing. It's I would say like Alucard is it's really I would say out of those three characters who I would say are the protagonists essentially. It's kind of weird. Like I really like Alucard because he's cool and badass, but we don't know enough about him. His motivations aren't exactly clear. We know he's somehow indebted to like the Hellsing family. We don't know the specifics of that. We know a little bit more about Integra, a lot more actually. We know a little bit about her childhood, how she discovered Alucard, a little bit about her role in like sort of using him for Hellsing's operations or whatever, and absolutely nothing about Sarah's Victoria. Like honestly, 26 chapters in, right? I legit have no idea what the purpose was to make Saris a vampire. Like I have no idea. Like this character has no bearing on the story at all. Like she basically just exists to be there, to be like a female character that's sort of out of the loop, right? It's her role to like look surprised at things that are happening. That's it. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't like. She's not really involved with the plot. Like she doesn't need to be there. She has no personality, no real character. Honestly, like her only real defining character trait, like I feel like, is that she's a newborn vampire who's basically unwilling to eat blood, and that basically is resolved in the lamest possible way in chapter 25. Lamest possible way. I can't emphasize enough. Like I read that chapter and I was just like, you know what I'm talking about if I read it, where like she drinks the blood from the finger in the most overtly sexualized way possible. Like shit. Like I'm a Dr. Stone fan. You know, I made fun of Dr. Stone for the fan service. Well, I actually like the fan service of Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone is like an example of tasteful but still amazing fan service. That was like super ridiculous, over the top, which is really weird because like neither Saris or Integra are all that attractive. Like if anything, Integra looks very mannish. I legit thought like Integra was Alucard when I first saw her. I was just like, yeah, this kind of looks like Alucard from Symphony of the Night. This must be him. But no, it's a woman. Like she looks very mannish. She's like wearing these crazy suits all the time. She has like cigars. It's really weird. Like she smokes cigars all the time. It's weird. That leads to like one of my other weird complaints. Like it's really difficult to go, like way too often to tell what sex someone is. Like I really don't understand this. Like Saris, I thought was a dude at first. Like if it wasn't for like her giant fucking titties, I would have thought she was a dude. Integra, I thought was a dude. There's like a werewolf that like really strongly resembles Saris without the tits, who wears like short shirts and like acts super effeminate. Apparently that's a dude. If this translation I'm having is right, like that's a dude who I think is in a gay relationship with the neo-Nazi major who wants to use vampires to wage endless wars. That's like, what? That's hilarious. That's so ridiculous. I love it. That's so ridiculously over the top. I just, the more and more I describe this plot, like it really does sound more and more like my overall plan for Order of the Dragon. I have no idea how the fuck that happened. Like I swear I've never heard of this series before, but yeah, it's just I am just oof. I did feel like a lot of the more political aspects were just a little bit too plotting. I think there are way too many scenes like introducing new characters where they just stand around and talk. Like I was invested in like Alucard and Integra and what they were doing. I was interested in learning more about Saris, but I mean they don't do anything with her. Like other than the bit with the finger, which I don't know. I don't know. That entire sequence was completely pointless. Like at least in Dr. Stone, here's what makes Dr. Stone tasteful. Here's what makes Dr. Stone tasteful. Like it's Dr. Stone is doing stuff that like people, generally speaking, would do stuff that real women and girls would actually do. You know what I mean? Like this is just obviously meant to be pandering, like pornographic bullshit, and I just hate it. I just hate it so much. I just like it's so bad. I think I'm a fan of it, honestly. Like there were issues with it. Like I think sometimes The art could have been more clear. I would have liked to see more blood, more graphic imagery, like more similar to what we see in Berserk. But like the monster designs are cool. I love seeing vampires and their teeth and things like that. Like, and the game and the novel does the the manga does a great job of sort of building up this conflict that's based on like real world history and religious. Like it's interesting. Like Protestants versus Catholics is kind of set up in the beginning of the story, which is something I wasn't really expecting to see from a manga of all things. It was I thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was different from what we've seen anything else, and it's different than what I did for sure. I'm just I thought it was great. I thought it was interesting. I think Alucard's design himself is cool. I mean, the main thing at this stage, like, how is it going to resolve? Like, how is it going to go from here? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm told the rest of the manga is good. I haven't heard about any decline in quality or anything like that. I expect it's going to be good. We'll have to see what I think of that when I actually get around to when they actually release the follow-ups, deluxe editions in November. So it's going to be another 3 months before I can continue reading this. But overall, I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I found it generally pretty engaging. I found the ideas fresh and exciting, and I liked it. Like, overall, I had no real problems with it, and I would recommend you check this one out.